First shed hunt of the season. Just before a snowstorm is about to come in. It's about 31 degrees out. It's overcast. Supposed to get about 8 inches. They're calling it significant. I don't see any significance in that. It's 8 inches. The only significance I can see in that is the fact that, you know, it helps with the moisture content in the air and the soil for the plants and the animals. So I feel like I'm a little early doing this. It is the first week of February, but I'm going to head out in the field and bring you with me, and we'll see if we can find something. Last year I did. The year before, I didn't find anything. So we'll see what happens. But, you know, again, I'm harping. I got to harp on it because I hate it so much. 2020, a lot of things changed. So there are more people becoming interested in it. It's a trend. You know, it'll probably fade at some point. Kind of like small game hunting. I was going to pair this with a small game hunt today, but I just didn't get out of the house early enough. And if I was going to do that, I would have gone out early this morning. So that ended up not happening. So let me park the car, get my boots on, and I'll meet you out in the field. Well, this is cozy. And I'm the only one here. I could probably make something out of that. But I think I'll just mind my own business. Okay, so for those who may not be familiar with what a shed hunt is, because not everybody's expected to know everything, this time of the year, around February, March, the white-tailed deer bucks that grew antlers in the fall for the breeding season are starting to shed them. Pretty simple, right? And it's fun. It's a nice way to get out and get exercise, and basically, I mean, you're combing the forest. But to make it a little bit easier, and I have another video about how to do shed hunting, I'll put a card up for it. What you want to look for are game trails, and I'm going to show you exactly what to look for. And it makes it a lot simpler. To a point. If you follow a game trail, especially if you can find evidence of white-tailed deer hoof prints, then your chances of possibly finding a shed antler increase greatly. Now, I call it a game trail because not just the deer use it, because the coyote are following him. And unfortunately, on the property I'm in right now, this is a highly mismanaged preserve. So my chances of finding a shed here are diminished by quite a bit, only because of the mismanagement. Because the neighboring forest preserve has a pretty big coyote population, and a couple of years ago they were just laying waste to the white-tailed deer here. I mean, everywhere you went. I was skiing here in the wintertime, and it was just carnage everywhere. And you just saw, you know, piles of bones and scattered across the landscape. And it was not a nice scene. So the deer have suffered a lot, and it's been a long time since I've seen any upland birds here. I haven't heard a woodcock here in a long time, and I haven't seen a turkey either. I think it's been at least a couple of years. So, you know, when you let the predators run wild, that's what happens. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just casually walking through the field, and I know that there are game trails that crisscross this area. I know that there's one up here because I followed it not too long ago. Okay, now we're cooking. Can you see it? It's right there. That is a definite game trail. You can feel where the old footprints were from when the ground was soft, because as you step on it, you can feel the variation. As you can see here, it kind of opens up. It doesn't look like it's following a direct trail any longer, but the deer will do that. You know, they don't stay on a perfect trail all the time. If you're curious, this is called mountain mint. You don't normally get to see natives too often anymore because of all the mismanaged land out there and all the invasives that have become an issue. Oh, here we go. Like I said, you know, they will scatter. They don't always stay on one main area. And the reason that they don't stick to one main area on a trail is because there's probably some browse. And that means food. So if there's an opportunity to grab a nibble, something to get in their stomachs, they're going to take advantage of it. So they're not going to stay on a perfect trail. We're coming up empty already. And, you know, no big deal. Just keep looking. And again, you know, if not for anything, it makes for a really, really nice walk. Normally, I would be up in here, but I'll put a card up for it. Last April, I was up in here, and this place doesn't get as busy as it used to. And I was identifying a plant with my phone, and I hear a little scuffling behind me. And probably no farther than the edge of this pond right here was the mangiest, most disgusting looking coyote I ever saw. Like I said, it's a mismanaged area, and there's no hunting, so they're just, you know, running rampant, and there's so many of them, they make each other sick, and not enough food, and so on and so forth. So he's probably looking for an opportunity, or he was so out of his mind from mange he wasn't thinking. Either that also, or there's a lot of children's classes here, and he's probably been stalking them for a good long time. If he's even still alive, he probably could have died by now. Great area up in there. You can see the hillside where the snow is, and this whole area through these cedars, loaded with deer trails. In fact, there's so much deer going through there. Maybe not so much now, but in the past it was like a toilet in there. There was so much activity. The educators just left, so I'm the only one back here. So I'm not going to do this alone because, you know, I'm focusing on what's in front of me, just like when I do my work with the trees and my survey work. And I'm not, you know, you don't always have a 360, which we should always have, but, you know, one thing at a time. So I'm not going to take that chance. I might be missing out on something, and I might not. So, but, you know, that's how it goes. A hunt is a hunt. What are you going to do? So now I'm going to turn off this little walkway here, and I'm going to head down this embankment because I know for certain that there's a well-used trail in here. There's water sources in here, down over there. See where the reeds are. You can see a little bit of water down in there. This is a pretty good deer trail through here because of the water. And there is, what do you call it, watercress in here. I'm not sure how much of it they eat, but somebody's eating it. Any footprints down here? It's been used recently, though. There's no doubt about it. Excellent area to look for a shed, because as the buck goes through, if his antler is ready to come off, these low-hanging branches, as he ducks his head and moves through, will knock it right off. Not all the time, but sometimes. And there goes the trail, right down through there, through those reeds. And we're going to follow that down over into this marshy area. That kind of looks doggy-like. That might be one of the coyotes following the deer. There goes the trail right through there. The snow is making a perfect line. And we've got some more down through here. You can see the white right there? That's either on top of ice or it's a trail. I did find a shed down here last year. It was just a spike, but Sheds are sheds. They sure are fun to find. Okay, now, I'm not going to continue because you don't see any footprints. Nobody's been through here recently. That looks like that might have been a fox, or maybe, ooh, I don't know. Those are teeny tiny footprints. That might be an otter or maybe a muskrat. Some of you trappers out there, let me know. I think that might be what that is. Mouse. There's an old footprint right there. And another one there. And there's another one. That is most definitely a deer. So we could follow that. But right now what I'm doing is I'm just kind of scanning the landscape to see if I see an antler, and even if it's small, it'll seem a little bit out of place. So they're not that difficult to find, but on a cloudy day, they're a little bit more difficult. You can see the tips of the hoof right there. There's some more tracks in here. Oh boy, what are we looking at here? They look... That kind of looks like a mouse right there. Maybe a muskrat coming through here? Usually the best way to do this is to zigzag, but I'm here kind of late in the day, so I'm not going to bother putting that much effort into it. If I was here a little bit earlier, then I would. I'm not seeing any activity through here, footprint-wise, so I'm just going to go out around the edge of the swampy area. If I don't see somewhat recent footprints, there's no point in going through there. Line that you see there, that's not so much a deer trail, that's more or less the edge of the swampy area where there's some water. Lots of footprints through here. And there's more of the same footprints. Could be a fox too. The larger ones would be deer. The smaller one, they're kind of big. That could be a marten, that could be a mink. Let's get a real good look at that. Regardless of being on an old trail that hasn't been used in a while, it's still a pretty good lesson in learning tracks and what to look for. There's some recent tracks right there. These are on top of the snow. These aren't that old. What are we looking at? I don't have my glasses on. I see toe pads. I'm thinking of fox. That's what I'm thinking. There's some more right there. Definitely not a squirrel. Let's see if I can make it up this hill without being destroyed by prickers. I sure do detest those things. Let's see what's going on up here. The snow has not melted. So let's look for some tracks. Actually, you know what? That looks more like a cat. That looks like a cat to me. Because you don't see the claw. Cool as hell. There's those little teeny tiny ones again. Okay, I'm going to reassess my last assumption. And I think that's not a squirrel. I think that might be maybe a possum. Or it could be a skunk. There they are again. See them? That's a freaking cat right there. No doubt about it. Not big enough to be, you know, anything significant, but that's definitely a bobcat. And it looks like it's been through probably in the last, I would say maybe the last few days. Yeah, look at this. Came trotting right through. How interesting. And I'm still looking for sheds while I'm filming this. Yeah, look at this. Telltale. No trapping or hunting on this property. Got some fresh tracks over here. We got human. And we have deer. There's deer footprint right there. That's not fresh. And there's another deer footprint right there. This human footprint is fresh. So is that one, but that was mine. I wonder if somebody's got the same idea I do. Cat footprints. I know they are. I just know they are. Come on, all my trapper friends out there, let me know. I'm pretty certain. So, looks like he was perusing the property a little bit. Starting to see a pattern now. So they're actually, even without snow, not very hard to spot. Looks like a bed down area. See how it's kind of flattened out. Let's take a little closer look. Maybe we've got something. Just a little look. Not seeing anything. And here's another bed down area over here. And it looks like it's starting to get dried up. So, looks like more bedding down over in here. But no sign of a shed yet. Look up and down it. See if we see anything. Not really. Look from side to side. I have found pretty big sheds in here. I found an 8-point shed a number of years ago. See that? Pretty easy. And look around the area. Now, there is a hunter that lives up there over to the left. He's got a tree stand. It's off this property, but he has every right to hunt there. And it's very possible that he already got the ones with the antlers. And I hope he did. I hope he did. So this may be all in vain, but you know, it's always a great day. Now, this looks pretty fresh. This does not. That looks dry. That looks kind of fresh. Maybe the last 24 hours. That's a nice healthy pile. So it's nice to know that they're alive in here anyways. Man, those bobcat tracks. Woo! I am so happy to have seen those. Too bad I can't do anything about it. Here's some old poop. And some new poop. How about a shed, fellas? Nothing. It is so quiet here. I could hear a pin drop. Now, this is a good spot to zigzag. I'm kind of doing that anyways. And the reason I say it's a good place to zigzag is because they seem to be using this like their outdoor living room. Kind of all over the place in here. There's some tracks, there's some food. I guess maybe this is a safe spot. Way up there in these mountains, once upon a time, yours truly used to do some serious backcountry, cross-country skiing. I used to go with a group of guys, usually about 4 of us, sometimes 5, and we would spend 6 to 8 hours up there. And we brought backpacks that were at least 20 pounds because we were so far out in the backcountry. I mean, we weren't completely out of civilization. I mean, in the Northeast, you never really are. But we had to be prepared in case, you know, we were a couple miles out, 3 miles out, and we broke a leg or we got sick or something. So we had to have enough in our backpacks to survive for at least 3 days. So back then, everybody trapped and everybody hunted. I mean, it wasn't really that long ago. The last time I did a good ski up there was around 2016, and that stopped for other reasons. Not mine. The public got a little odd. So, I only had one incident up there. I was with a friend. I was way out on the back side of that property. Probably about, I don't know, close to 4 miles from the car. Nothing on cross-country skis. And we sit down, because it's a cold day, and do what we always did. And we had a fire. We were always careful about it because we didn't want to burn the woods down, even in the winter. You know, it could travel underground to a certain extent. And we're sitting there having lunch and we're talking. We're on a rock. And what do you think I hear behind us? A little whimper. So, unfortunately, this friend I was with, great big burly mountain guy, he didn't really want to believe me. But I know what I know, and I've got a lot of experience in the woods. I said, we need to move because we were just scouted by a coyote. And that was a fact. He says, all right, we'll go. We got our skis on, and now we were doing a loop in the forest. He wanted to continue ahead. I said, I don't think that's a good idea. Let's go back the way we came, because if something happens, we already set a track, and we can get out a lot quicker. All right. Just then, guess what happens? All of a sudden, all the coyotes up ahead, where we would have gone, started howling. It was a hunting party. And the whimper I heard behind the rock where we were sitting was the scout. So, I've heard people say, I can handle one coyote, probably two. Oh no, you can't. Because the one coyote, never even mind two of them. The one coyote is the scout. And he's the one who's going to go back and tell the gang that there's possible food source. And don't ever think that a coyote won't try to go after a human, because they most certainly will. If they've got enough of them, they can take down a deer, they can take down a human. So nowadays, with the unchecked population, because a lot of the old-time hunters don't go up there anymore, they're either dead, retired, or moved away. There's no one keeping track of this. And you have to manage them in order for it to be safe. I mean, this is why we're humans. There's nothing wrong with trapping. There's nothing wrong with hunting. It keeps the system in balance. As I explained earlier in the video, this system here, where I am on this property, this is a very unbalanced system. The coyote are sick. They're eating all the deer. I don't know if anybody's keeping track of them or if anybody's counting the deer or the coyote, but nobody's happy here. Strangely enough, about a week ago, I did see rabbit footprints in the snow right here on this property. The rabbits amaze me. I mean, I've heard them in my yard where we've had like 12 to 15 of them in the yard, and you hear them getting picked off at night by foxes. But sometimes, I don't know, they manage to evade the foxes and the hawks and the bobcats. So I guess my hunt is done. But my point to that was, I used to ski up in there alone a lot. And I only had one incident probably about 30 years ago when I went up on a Tuesday, because cross country used to be king up there. It was on a Tuesday, but most of the people that you saw run were there on a weekend. And I went up and I got like past the first lake. And I stopped for a minute and I hear a whole bunch of coyote up on the other side of the hill. Turned right around, went back to the car. It's not worth taking any chances because, like I said, they are opportunistic and they will take any chance they can get. But, you know, you don't have the hunters or the trappers, then there's more danger. And don't go out there. Watch my video, Wildlife Conversations. It's no laughing matter, that's for sure. But, well, unfortunately, we didn't find anything today. It's alright. It's always fun spending time with my favorite people. All my older subscribers and my new subscribers. I want to welcome all the new subscribers. And thank you so much for your support. Oh, look at this. One of the school projects. They usually fill it with peanut butter. Or you could put suet in there too. So I'm going to wrap it up. Thanks for coming with me. I'll see you again in the next video. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.